Welcome to the Budget Staff Training Series that was created to provide you with a resource to assist you with budget development. This tutorial is about Human Resources ABP forms. This is part one of a two-part series that will give a general overview of the ABP form, as well as how to complete the form and other ABP form tips and tricks. Once you've completed this tutorial, you'll have a better overview of the ABP form, and you'll also understand how to complete the ABP form. Let's go ahead and get started. ABP stands for adding/deleting of budgeted positions, and it's a form generated by the Human Resources and is unique to the budget process. This form is not used to change the requested positions within the recommended or final budget. For example, if during the budget year you like to add 2 office assistant positions, this would not be the form that you would use to do that. You would need to go through the normal HR process and submit your request for approval through HR to the executive office for review. If this is during the budget process and you'd like to add 2 positions to your budget, you would not use this form to do that. For that process, you would actually add your positions into the base system and submit with your normal budget request. The executive office will take a look at that request, incorporate it into the Schedule 20 request, and submit it to the board for approval. This form is used to instruct Human Resources of the manual adds and deletes needed to update the HRMS system to match what the board has approved for positions in the budget. Now, just to give a general overview of how the ABP form fits into the overall budget development process. Departments will enter their position requests into the base system along with all their other budget requests. Once they finalize their request and submit to the executive office for review, the executive office will compile the requests of all departments and incorporate them into the Schedule 20. The Schedule 20 is included in the budget document and submitted to the board for approval. The Schedule 20 reflects all of the position requests for all departments, as well as some historical information about filled and vacant positions, as well as the history of positions that were authorized in the past. Once the board approves the positions, then the positions are authorized and the department is free to recruit for any kind of vacant positions during the new fiscal year. After the positions have been approved in the budget document, HR must manually update the PeopleSoft HRMS system to match the Schedule 20. This is done using the ABP form. To complete the ABP form, a department must obtain a list of current department positions active in the system. You will need this information in order to determine the variances between the Schedule 20 that was approved by the board and what's currently in the HRMS system. You will then use the variances to determine what you need to include on the ABP form. You will also need to take into account any kind of recruitments or changes that are in process with HR but that are not reflected in HRMS. You'll need to ensure that those are properly reflected on the ABP form so that you do not have duplicate changes to the request for changes to the HRMS system. Once the APP is completed and submitted to HR, it is processed and HRMS is updated. Completing an ABP form. Again, ABP forms are unique to the budget process. You want to ensure that you include all fields, and this document also requires the signature of your department head or a department head designee. One of the fields that's commonly missed by departments is the A30/B3 field. Now, A30 is the board policy that establishes guidelines about the coordination of grants. The policy requires positions be deleted upon termination of the grant or contract funding unless the department can demonstrate that the position can be funded from another source outside of new net county cost. Policy B3 is the board policy that provides guidance about contract services to cities. In essence, it requires positions funded by contract revenue from a city to be deleted upon reduction in or termination of a contract. If either of these policies apply to the positions that you're adding to the budget HRMS system, you'll want to make sure that you complete the A30B3 field by indicating why for yes, these apply. If the 2 policies do not apply, just enter in for no. Another few fields that are commonly missed when departments submit these ABP forms to Executive Office are related to the funding of positions. They are the percent of net county cost field, the total percent funded by grant field, and the total percent funded by contract or legal document. These three fields should be completed to reflect the amount of these funding sources that will be used to fund the various positions that you add to the HRMS system. Now, if the position is not specifically tied to either of these funding sources, you want to go ahead and use best practices by estimating what the percentages will be based on the percentage that these funding sources represent of your budget. So, for example, if 10% of your budget is represented by net county costs, 10% is funded by grant, and the balance of it is funded by contract or legal document, then you would complete these fields to reflect that there's 10% of the position funded by net county costs, 10% is funded by grant, and the balance of 80% is funded by contract or legal document. Another page that's commonly missed with the ABP form is the second page. You must complete this for positions that are senior level or above. Please ensure that you fill in the job title and correct job code information, and that you list the primary duties and responsibilities of the position. This supplemental form should be attached to the ABP form when submitting to the Executive Office. This concludes part 1 of the tutorial. If you would like to learn more about the Human Resources ABP form, see part 2 of this tutorial, which will discuss position transfers using the ABP form and other ABP form tips.